to this week's episode. Live questions, answers, everything is going to go on as we go through here. So we have a rundown for this call. Why you're still stuck is the topic. So I just want to welcome everyone that's on here, or if you're watching this as a recording, hopefully you can get your questions answered, and feel free to reach out. So today, why you're still stuck. So first up is what we're going to go into. Most people in chronic pain have never been told. So suffering. Who's been suffering? Who's had suffering from chronic pain? You probably wouldn't be in here if it hasn't happened before. So the things that you've done, the suffering that you've gone through, you've gone to your doctor's appointments, you've done imaging, you've done the referrals. So whether you've done PT, chiropractic, orthopedic, I've done the surgery, you're doing medications, you've tried a number of things, maybe even changed your diet. And everything seems to be in a good place. It looks stable, your structure's everything, but you're still in that chronic pain. And you're just told, well, manage it. Well, the pain is still there, and nobody has a real answer why. I've been there. I know all of you have been there. So what happens is you start to feel isolated, like you're on an island by yourself. Nobody believes you. Then you start having self-doubt on yourself. Should I have felt something different? Should I not be feeling this way? Am I really making all this stuff up? And I can tell you that the exhaustion that you feel from not being believed is one of the hardest things. It's so difficult to just live inside yourself and feel like there's nobody out there that understands you. Well, there is a missing piece, a part that really isn't covered. And I believe the gap comes in because it's not a part of typical medicine where you're going to get the structural issue taken care of. So the missing piece, the education, the part that nobody talks about, your nervous system. Yes, you may have done nerve conduction tests to see how the structure is running, but they haven't looked at the nervous system in a response to prolonged injury, that it can get stuck in a loop. And there's research out there on this, but the research never translates into how do you then work with it. So what happens is the pain continues, and the pain continues after the tissue that was damaged is healed. So it becomes independent. It's a separate thing. It doesn't have its own source of pain anymore. So it becomes neurological, not psychological, neurological. So I don't want you to confuse those two. Psychological is completely different than a neurological loop that's happening automatically within your system. So most structural treatments don't touch this component. There's nothing wrong with the structural treatments. They are by far needed. The structure needs to be stable. If you don't have a stable structure, I'm not the one for you to work with yet. But once things come stable and that loop is still going, that's where this program really shines. So why stable imaging does not match what you feel? You could have imaging where they're saying this is what's causing your pain. You have the arthritis, you had disc injuries, you have this. Well, everything stabilizes in the body. It doesn't stay a herniated disc forever. Arthritis doesn't necessarily equate to you're going to have pain. You can look everything up. You can look the studies up, how MRIs of somebody that is not in pain and feeling fine in their 40s, 50s, and 60s could come back with even worse looking imaging than even you, meaning that they have the degenerative disc disease, they have the arthritis, but everything's stable, and they never had that pain loop that started. So they feel fine and they go about their day. So what you haven't been taught is the fact that sometimes your imaging can have findings on it, but if they're stable, it may not be the pain generator, especially if you've gone through plenty of therapies and you're still feeling it. So most practitioners are not taught to do this, me included. When I was treating patients as a chiropractor, I saw car accident patients slip and fall, people that wanted to play golf better, different array of people. And there was always that group of people that 8 weeks, 12 weeks in, everything's stable, everything went through, they followed the plan, and they're still feeling like there's an issue. And I didn't know what to do at that point. So it was, well, let's refer you for imaging. Let's refer you to a specialist. Let's refer you here. Let's try that. And most of the time, people just disappeared on their own. It just happened because there was no longer a need for what I was doing. The structure was stabilized, yet they were still having a problem. Then I had those patients that would continue to come back and get adjusted or treated every once in a while to maintain what was going on. However, once I got into the accident and learned this myself and went through what all my patients went through, that was really the shining moment for me when the light bulb went off and I learned another way. So why can the loop be broken? Why can this be broken? It can. It really can. The nervous system is not permanently damaged. Sometimes it is. Don't get me wrong. There's people that have had nerve damage. However, it's not permanently damaged, meaning that it heals to the best of its ability. There's going to be maybe scar tissue that forms, but ultimately everything heals and stabilizes, not permanently under a damage. So your nervous system could have been trained to do this. It's like when you learn to ride a bike, or you learn to walk, or you learn to do a new skill, or you learned how to type, whatever it is that you do without having to think about anymore, but you can continue to do it, that's a learned pattern by the nervous system. So your nervous system just learned the pain pattern, but it can be changed. The loop can be broken. There is lots and lots of research on a topic known as neuroplasticity, meaning the nervous system has the ability to change. So it can learn new habits. It doesn't happen overnight, but it can learn new habits. Think about riding a bike or typing. It gets better the more you do it. So you got really, really good. Your body got really, really good at running the pain loop. And it's now going to take some time to teach it to run a different loop. So my own recovery through this, I started noticing improvements almost immediately. But after about 2 weeks, my pain had severely decreased, my morning pain. And it was one of those things where you're thinking like, this can't be real. This is only going to be temporary because you've run into it before. But here I am years later, and I'm still fine. Why am I not walking away from this? My personal commitment, my personal commitment to the world is to stop the suffering from people that have a nervous system that got stuck in a loop. I had a practice. I built a career on structural care. I completely understand that side of it, and it is needed. And majority of people get through the structural care and they're fine. However, for those of you that have gone through that and your structure is stable and you're still having the problem, that's why I'm here, because I know you'll be stuck in it for a long time, possibly forever, if somebody isn't out there to help you with this. And that's why I'm here. That's why I have this free community. That's why I have these free master classes. So I want you to learn about this. And when you're ready, we are here. So this is not just a business for me. This is a program that I want for everyone that is suffering. So I am not going anywhere. This is what I am building, and this is who I am building it for. I'm building it for anybody that finds themselves stuck in the neurological pain loop. All right, let's get into some questions. I want to have some questions here. So here's a question. Here's one that I get asked a lot. If my imaging is stable, Why does the pain feel so real and so constant? Well, the signal is real, even when the structure isn't the source. So, central sensitization means that the alarm keeps firing after the threat is gone. Your system keeps running on the loop. It's habitual neural dysfunction. It learned the pattern. It's like you being able to walk without thinking about where your foot has to go. It's learned the pattern. It's just the body and the mind and the nervous system is so good at learning patterns, so you don't have to put the extra effort into doing it, that it learned the wrong pattern. It learned a pain pattern. Another question I get asked: how long does it take to fix? Well, just like any other doctor out there, like any other massage therapist, personal trainer, dietitian, it depends on how long you have been in the loop. So, how long has your nervous system been stuck? How long has it been practicing this? How long have you lived with it? How much do you believe that it will never change? Now, the 8-week program is structured around the sequence that produces the fastest durable change. Now, don't get me wrong, you finish this 8 weeks, you're not done. The 8 weeks is to get you set so you have a daily routine and you don't need us anymore. You don't need to follow us anymore. The point is you'll be able to then do these techniques for the rest of your life. And if you do fall off and you do have a flare, you can always come back to your program. It's not going anywhere. Next question I get: is this the same as being told it's all in my head? No. That Bugs Bunny meme that I see, no. It always makes me think of that when that answer comes out. But this is a neurological process, not a psychological one. I want you to remember that. Your pain is real. There's no doubt about it. The pain's real. The driver of the pain is the nervous system. So it's not your imagination. It's not the tissue where you're feeling it. It's within the nervous system itself. Now, can I do this if I've already tried everything? Oh, the realistic answer is most people who find HNDC have already tried everything. So this is exactly who it's built for. It's built for the people that have tried everything. Now, do you have to try everything before you come to me? No, but usually everything has been tried and the structure has stabilized. All right, now, if anything that was talked about here today sounds like your story, the next step in the conversation, the next thing you need to do is go to the link in the community. Okay, we're in the community here. Go over to school. If you're watching this on school, you're already in the classroom. Just go to the program itself. Take a look at it, read what it does, how long it's going to be, some of the things that you're going to learn, and then you can book a complimentary consultation with me. It's no pressure. This is all about being able to get your questions answered, figure out if this is right for you. The idea behind that is you want to know and feel safe and feel certain that this is something you're going to be able to get behind and you're going to be able to do the commitment of the 8 weeks before you purchase. Don't buy it as an impulse buy. Make sure this is something that you want to do. And if you feel you need to speak directly to me, let's have that conversation. I want to make sure anyone that goes to this program is going to have their best about them to be able to get through it. We will be on here again weekly. I will see anybody that gets on here next week. For those of you that are watching this as a recording, remember, stay in the school, look it up, find out where it is on the calendar, and jump in my live events if you want to get your questions answered real time. Have a great one.